Good evening, Chicago. This is Chi-Town Weekly. Sorry about the little bump to start the show there. We were having a few technical difficulties, but we seem to have gotten them ironed out. We are live, bringing you ready right up to kickoff for Bears and Vikings of Monday Night Football. Oh boy, what a big one this is going to be tonight. Bears coming in on a 3-game losing streak. They absolutely, unequivocally have to have this one tonight. Is having Bill Lazor calling plays going to make any kind of a difference for the offense? Is having no David Montgomery tonight going to affect things? Cody Whitehair is back active off of the COVID list and is active to play tonight. Is that going to make a difference for this porous offensive line? So much to talk about there with the Bears, and then that doesn't even touch the surface of the Vikings. Kirk Cousins, the evil that is Monday Night Football to Kirk Cousins' career. Dalvin Cook does great against everybody except the Bears. Is that going to hold true tonight? What more can the Bears do to stay alive in this crowded and unpredictable NFC playoff race? And then if we've got time, the Bulls have a draft coming up on Wednesday. The Karnisovitz era is going to make its first draft pick on Wednesday night. We might talk about that just a little bit. This is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio. Buckle up, let's have some fun. And once again, welcome in here to Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio. I am your host, Adam Karnick. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Monday night to spend some time talking Bears football and Monday Night Football preview here with me. Again, I apologize for the little bit of a delay in getting the show off the ground tonight. We were having some technical difficulties behind the scenes. They seem to be resolved and working, and we're going now, so thank you so much. It is going to be a little bit shorter of a show tonight as a result, so I'll probably just be taking one break instead of my usual 2 to try to get through everything, and then that way that'll make room for Mike to have room for his full show after me for Let's Whine About Sports, and then so we can all get over to the Monday Night Football call. So, Bears, Vikings. This is one you got to have if you're Chicago. You cannot come out of this one on a 4-game losing skid. You have got to stop the bleeding right here, right now if you're Chicago. It's been over a month since the Bears last won a game. You do not want to head into your bye week next week on a 4-game losing skid, because where do you go from there? Losses in the NFL just pile on and pile up. You've got to nip them in the bud as soon as you can. Also, don't look now, but the Green Bay Packers, they're starting to pull away a little bit now. You've got a game and a half separating the Packers from the Bears being off next week. That could become larger, or excuse me, it's 2 games coming into tonight. After tonight's game, if the Bears win, it's a game and a half, but then if the Packers win next week while the Bears are off, it's 2 games. You want to keep the Packers within eyesight on the division. And then don't look in that rearview mirror, but objects in mirror may be closer than they appear. The Detroit Lions are suddenly 4-5. You want to be able to keep some distance between yourself and them, because again, you're off next week. The Lions are going to play. The Lions are going to be playing the Panthers. It sounds like without Christian McCaffrey, things could line up for them to have an easier game than we might have thought when the schedule came out. The Lions might be 5-5. You drop this one tonight, suddenly you're tied with the Lions instead of having a game in hand against them, a game cushion plus your tiebreaker. So lots riding on this game tonight, and that's just from a divisional standpoint. Then you get into the NFC conference as a whole. It's a mess. The NFC doesn't have any one strong team in it right now. Just when you think you've got somebody pegged, the Packers get blown out by the Buccaneers and then struggle with an undermanned Jacksonville Jaguars team yesterday. You've got the NFC West is just a jumbled up mess. You don't know. They're all good teams, but you don't really know who the best one is. Just when you think, oh, it's Seattle, then they turn around and drop a game. Oh, it's Arizona, then they turn around and drop one to Miami. Oh, never mind, it's not Los Angeles. So the conference as a whole is not obviously strong in any one team or spot, and the entire NFC East, we all know, is a joke right now, unfortunately. So you've got to be able to keep pace and keep your nose in with all these teams so that you can keep yourself alive for the playoffs. So what does Nagy do during the week to try to... You've got a 3-game losing streak. You've got to do something to stop this streak. So what does Nagy do? Nagy decides to hand over the play-calling duties to Bill Lazor. I saw a lot of fans rejoicing when this came out. You'd almost thought for some it was the second coming. Oh, my goodness, now we're going to see all this creativity with the offense. Now we're going to see, all these great plays working. Now we're going to see this great offense work out for us. Hold your horses. Yes, it's a different guy calling the plays, but it's still the same offense. You still have a mashed up, jumbled up, thrown together on the fly offensive line. Yes, it sounds like they're getting Cody Whitehair back tonight. He is active off of the COVID list. So you are getting one of your better offensive linemen back tonight when you need him. That's good news, but it's still patchwork across the rest of the way. You don't have David Montgomery tonight at running back. He's out with a concussion. So now you're down to your third running back. Does that mean we're going to see Cordero Patterson? Does that mean we're going to see undrafted rookie Artavius Pierce? Does that mean we're seeing Ryan Nall? They activated Lamar Miller off of the practice squad today. What are we going to see at running back? You have no idea. And then it's still Nick Foles at quarterback. And Nick Foles obviously has not been the savior that we hoped he would be when they signed him and when they traded for him and brought him over. So you still have problems on the offense that Bill Lazor is going to have to contend with. I think what we're going to see differently, though, with the offense, here's kind of the difference. With Matt Nagy, I've heard coaches talk about, in jest, they talk about the touchdown play. And what they mean by that is when there's a problem of, why don't we just run the touchdown play? As in the play that every time we run it, we score. Oh, well, duh. Yeah, let's run the touchdown play here. That ought to work. That's a great idea. Points are always good. There is no such thing as the touchdown play. Any one play can score, and none of your plays can score at any given point. There is no one magical play that the offense can run and have success. And I feel like with Nagy as a play caller, he was constantly trying to find the touchdown play. He always wanted to find that one magic play that could just, here we go. I'm going to score because I called this play. We're going to score because I called this play. We're going to score this time. I just know it, guys. As opposed to calling plays almost like a chess master, where it's I'm running this play to set up this other play that I want to do down the road, that you're keeping a whole picture of the game in mind as you're calling plays. Whereas Nagy tunnel focused on, I want to score on this play. We need points. We need points. We need points. We need points. I got to score. I got to score. I got to score. What's the magic play that I can score with? I think with Lazor, you might see more of a mature, all right, we might not score this time with this play, but I'm going to show you this so that later I can do that off of it and see some misdirection and things like that off of what Lazor's going to do with his play calls. So keep that in mind tonight with the offense and with the ideas behind what they could do. And then the opponent on the other side, the Vikings. Oh man, you talk about just not knowing what to expect. Had you told me a couple weeks ago when we talked, it was, oh, they've got the Vikings. Well, this should be all right. The Vikings look terrible. They can't move the ball on offense. They can't stop the ball on defense. They're one of the worst defenses at either stopping the offense either in the air or on the ground. This should work out great for the Bears. Now all of a sudden, they seem to have gotten Dalvin Cook on track. They seem to have worked some things out on figuring out how they need to win games. And suddenly now, they're a little bit stronger than they appeared a couple weeks ago. That being said, they're still a 3-5 football team, and Kirk Cousins is still, if the game isn't being played at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, he's not necessarily the guy you want throwing the ball. He is 0-9 lifetime on Monday Night Football, and the brighter the lights, the bigger the stage, the worse he seems to do. So hopefully the Bears can keep that trend going with him a little bit, and also keep their trend going of being able to contain Dalvin Cook. They were able to contain Derrick Henry last week. They struggled a little bit more against Alvin Kamara. We'll see what running defense we get tonight from the Bears. If they're able to contain Cook and turn this into a Kirk Cousins has to go win this game for the Vikings, then I'm feeling a little bit better about the Bears' chances tonight. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about some more Bears. And then we're also going to look a little bit briefly at the Bulls and their upcoming draft. This is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, what's up, sports fans? You're looking for a different type of sports talk show, something you haven't heard before? You got to check out the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday on 2 Live Stews Radio. 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Sports talk at its finest. Always have great guests. Playing some good hip-hop. You don't want to miss it. Make sure to tune in to the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Damn! Green team! Set! Hey!
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head primetime face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
What's up, everybody? This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, hear me and hear me good. If you like sports, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like comedy, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like a different opinion coming from a different angle, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. So join me Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with your host, Jelani J.B. Bodie. And of course, my man Lopan on the WaitAMinuteShow.com. Ain't that right, Lopan?
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Going to take a quick side detour here away from the Bears for a minute. Let's talk about the Bulls. The Bulls have the NBA draft coming up on Wednesday, the first draft for new general manager Karnisovitz. I was talking with some of the guys doing the Fast Break show, which you can hear them on Sunday evenings here on IE Sports Radio. They do a great job of talking all things NBA and WNBA and basketball in general. About the draft a little bit. The Bulls are going to be drafting 4th overall, and we were going back and forth a little bit on what the Bulls might do. It feels to me like point guard would make a lot of sense. You need a quarterback. You need a leader for this team, for Billy Donovan, new coach on the team, and just a direction coming out of the mess that they've been in the last few years. Kind of want to crawl out from under that rubble and get a new identity for yourselves as a team. And with the 4th overall pick, you've got some opportunities there to do that. There's a couple of names that I keep seeing pop up for the Bulls at 4. One is a young 19-year-old forward out of Israel. I apologize, I'm almost certainly going to get this name not pronounced correctly. Denny Avdija, who's a young forward out of Tel Aviv in Israel. Seems to be a good two-way player, kind of a guy that could be kind of a point forward for you, guy that can be a facilitator, can be a little bit of a playmaker, can do some nice things for you. I worry a little bit looking at him, though. He struggles shooting the ball at the free throw line and at the three-point line. Those might be things that could ultimately hinder him at the NBA level, might keep him from becoming truly a superstar. But at the same time, he's young. You can work on your shooting. You might be able to develop a little bit there. And then the other big name that is associated with the Bulls a lot, if he even falls to 4, they might need to, if this is the guy they truly want, they might need to make a move up to 2 or 3 in order to get him LaMelo Ball. I'm torn on this guy a little bit. Ball has been playing professionally in Australia for the last couple of years. His father, I shouldn't hold the sins of the father against the son, but it's hard to avoid doing that a little bit in this situation. His father just came out so brazenly a few years ago, and oh yeah, my boys are the greatest thing to ever happen to basketball. They're all going to take the league by storm, and you guys are ridiculous for not taking them first overall, and they should be playing already. And never mind that LaMelo at the time was probably all of 13 or 14. Older brother was getting ready to play collegiately, and it was... His dad just rubbed me so the wrong way. Listening to him when he would give interviews and the attitude with which he would be scheduled to do an interview and then he just wouldn't show because he would decide that it wasn't worth his time and his kids' time. And it just so rubbed me the wrong way that it doesn't bother me as much as probably it should when I see that the elder of the Ball boys didn't live up to the hype. Now you've got LaMelo coming in. He could be the best player in this draft. He could also flame out in a blaze of glory a la his older brother. So what do you do there? Obviously if he reaches his potential, yes, you have a star player there for many years to come for the Bulls. If he doesn't work out, then man, you keep pushing the reset button on this rebuild. You can only do that so many times before people give up on you. It does seem like, though, LaMelo would fit what the Bulls are looking for a little bit. It allows you to move Kobe White more naturally into a 2-guard spot where he can primarily worry about his scoring as opposed to trying to be a facilitator on the court. Ball is a better suited facilitator than Kobe White is. LaMelo's shot from 3-point distance, that seems to be his... If you've got a question mark about him, he's not great at 3-point shooting. Derrick Rose wasn't fantastic at 3-point shooting when he was in his prime. He needed to work on that too. I'm not trying to say that LaMelo Ball is going to be what Derrick Rose was in his prime for the Bulls. I'm just saying that in this modern NBA, you can have some guys who aren't amazing 3-point shooters and still have some success in the NBA. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bulls do with that pick and kind of get an idea of what the direction of this franchise might be now that you've got a new general manager and you've got a new head coach and they've started to fill out their coaching staffs a little bit. But then back to the Monday night game. Dalvin Cook is the guy. If you have to worry about stopping any one player tonight for the Vikings, it's obviously Dalvin Cook. Cook has, the last couple games out of the Vikings bye week, he has exploded. Over 300 yards of offense. I believe it was about 4 or 5 touchdowns he scored. He absolutely shredded the Packers 2 weeks ago. He was the reason that the Vikings beat the Packers, pulled off that upset in Lambeau, which simultaneously was, yes, the Packers lost to the Vikings. Ha ha ha! See, look at that. The Packers aren't invincible. And then it was, oh, but look at how they lost. That's a really easy way to beat the Bears. This Bears defense is good, but it struggles to stop the running game. A high-powered running back, that could be trouble for the Bears. So it was, it's a double-edged sword. It's kind of a be careful what you wish for. I heard a stat earlier today that the magic number right now for the Vikings and Kirk Cousins seems to be about 22. That if you have Kirk Cousins attempt more than 22 passes in a game, that's when you start to see problems. That's when you start to see that it falls apart a little bit. That's when he starts to force throws and he gives the ball up, he gives the ball away with a little bit more frequency. So if the Bears can contain Dalvin Cook, that forces you to have to go to Kirk Cousins a bit more, and then hopefully the Bears defense can take advantage of those situations. This Bears defense has not done a great job of taking the ball away through the first 9 games, and to me that's understandable because the defense understands that, man, if we miss taking the ball away, then we give up a big play, and our offense just isn't going to be able to recover from that. But unfortunately, the defense, I think, is realizing and learning that they're just going to have to try to pick their spots to try to take the ball away because the offense, short of being gifted the ball in scoring range, just is not going to be able to consistently move the ball down and put up points. I see Taryn jumping into the chat here. He's got the Bears winning tonight 17-14. I agree with that, with how close of a score you've got there, Taryn. The Bears' defense is good enough that they will be in this game. I do not see the Vikings running away and hiding in this game. But I fear that the offense for the Bears is going to continue to struggle so much that they won't be able to pull away and kind of allow the defense to pin its ears back and go after the pass rusher. I have seen a lot of people this week get very frustrated with Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn was brought in this past offseason to rush the passer. His very first play as a Bear, he beautifully did that. Got into the backfield and just destroyed Daniel Jones on a sack strip fumble play. And that's been it. He's only had about a half dozen pass rushes, successful pass rushes the entire rest of the season. He's got just that one sack. While it's frustrating with Robert Quinn, here's the one thing that I'll kind of say in defense of him and in defense of the defense as a whole, and part of why we're not seeing Mack and Quinn and Hicks just feast on and destroy other teams' quarterbacks like we were hoping we would. It falls on the offense. Because the offense isn't scoring, because the offense isn't consistently moving the ball, and the offense isn't able to consistently put up points by itself on a week in, week out basis, you're not ever getting to a point in the game where opponents have to abandon the run and just chuck the ball all around the field so that they can get back into the game. They are able to constantly continue running the ball, which means Robert Quinn isn't going after the passer. That means Khalil Mack is having to defend the run game instead of trying to get into the backfield and sack the quarterback. It means that Roquan Smith is being far more involved in the stat sheet than you would maybe hope. And no offense to Roquan, he's having an outstanding season. He would make the Pro Bowl if there were such a thing this year. COVID and all that forcing changes. If there were a Pro Bowl, Roquan Smith would be in it. Danny Trevathan has flipped things around a little bit too at the other inside linebacker spot and starting to be more consistent. But because the offense isn't scoring and isn't making the other team sweat, you're not putting the defense in a situation to show off just all that it can do, which I think is very disappointing. Is very disappointing to me. All right, so I talked a little bit at the open of the show, and again, if you missed the open, we're doing a short show tonight just because we had some technical difficulties at the beginning of the night. We worked our way through them. We're all good, but we're just doing a little bit of an abbreviated show tonight so that Let's Whine About Sports can get started here in a few minutes, and then also you can kick over to USRN and hear Bears Vikings tonight if you have no other means of watching the game or listening to the game. You've always got USRN. They've got great content. I believe it's Seth Eves on the call tonight for the Bears game, so he's going to do an awesome job getting you up to speed on that. And then also later on tonight, the Unfiltered Truth. The two Phils are going to talk about the Raiders. I don't know if anybody saw it yesterday. Nick Kwiatkowski made a fantastic play for the Raiders yesterday. Made a terrific one-handed interception against the Broncos. Hopefully, Phil will talk about that a little bit. I'm happy for Kwiatkowski. I'm glad the Bears chose to re-sign Trevathan, even though he had a little bit of a rough start this season. I think Trevathan's going to wind up the better player, but still good for Kwiatkowski. So I talked a little bit at the open of the show of what this game means for the Bears. Obviously, you need to stop this bleeding. You win tonight. You win this game tonight, and you can exhale. You can, all right, we stopped the losing. We've got a bye. We can breathe. We can reset. We can collect ourselves a little bit. The elevator stops falling. The world stops spinning for a little bit. You can regroup and reset, lay off the panic button a little bit, and just feel better about yourself as a football team. If you don't win tonight, then it's a 4-game losing streak going into your bye. And then you've got the Packers coming up on a Sunday night primetime spot out in Lambeau Field immediately after your bye. And suddenly you're staring down the barrel of a 5-game losing skid, including 2 straight in the division. You don't want to be there. And also, if you're there, what more can you do if you're Matt Nagy? You've already benched your quarterback. You've already changed your play caller. What's the next move if you don't win tonight? What's your next move for fixing this team and becoming relevant and salvaging this season? You know, you lose tonight and you completely undo all the hard work you did in that 5-1 start. You've reset the button on the entire season, and now you've got this crazy 6-game sprint to try to get relevant again. Now, fortunately, the final 6 games after tonight, 4 of them are in the division. The schedule makers did a wild one for the Bears this year. 5 of the final 7 games are in the division. The next 3, tonight, then 2 weeks from tonight in Lambeau, and then the following week is hosting Detroit. Then you've got Houston and Jacksonville, as well as Minnesota and Green Bay again to wrap up the season for Chicago. So the games are there, but you've got to start showing that you can be a winning football team. I joked with a buddy of mine before the show tonight. He was asking for a prediction. I jokingly said, I think they're both going to score 19 points. It's going to end in a tie, and this game is going to single-handedly set football back 70 years. I think this is going to be a very grinded-out, slow-moving, ugly football game that ESPN is going to go, ooh, boy, aren't we glad we picked this one. I do feel optimistic simply because it is the Vikings tonight. I think the Bears do figure out a way to beat them. Nagy is a perfect 4-0 against the Vikings in his career. I think they figure out a way, I think, to win this one tonight and get back on the winning side, at least for a week. I think, boy, if I'm gonna put a score to it, I'm gonna say Bears 19, Vikings 16. So hopefully next week we'll have good things to talk about for the Bears, and hopefully the end of a losing skid. But I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting one tonight. We're just going to have to buckle up and see what comes out of all of this. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me and kind of getting through this kind of odd show tonight. A little bit of an abbreviated show. But thank you guys once again for listening. Thank you, Taryn, for hopping in the chat and just making sure that people could, in fact, hear me out there. I appreciate that. Everybody, the world's looking kind of weird out there right now. The COVID situation is getting scarier by the day. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, listen to doctors, listen to people that are listening to doctors, do what we can. Thanksgiving is next week. Let's all try to have a very happy, healthy, and safe Thanksgiving. Coming up next, we have got Let's Whine About Sports with Mike Pat. Be sure to tune in and listen to him. He always does an awesome job. He's going to be talking about the NFL and the salary cap and some other fun things. I will be back at my normal time, 6 Central, next Monday night. We will talk to everybody then. Have a good night. Bear down.